Right now, in the heat of August, your hostas might look a little tired. Maybe the leaves are scorching at the edges, or the lush spring growth is starting to flop. Naturally, your instinct is to step in, tidy them up, or give them a quick fix to get them through late summer. But here's the dangerous truth. One single, common mistake made during the month of August can quietly ruin your hostas before next spring even arrives. It won't kill the plant today, and it won't look like a disaster tomorrow. But under the surface, it sets off a hidden chain reaction that destroys the crown, starves next year's growth buds, and guarantees tiny, weak foliage come May. If you want huge, vibrant hostas next season, we need to talk about what's actually happening to your plants right now and what you must avoid doing this month. To understand why August is such a critical month, you have to look at what hostas are doing behind the scenes. To us, August feels like the tail end of the season. The plant looks like it's taking a break. Growth has slowed down, and the summer heat is taking its toll. It's easy to assume your hostas are just coasting into autumn. But beneath the soil, the exact opposite is happening. Right now, hostas are going through one of the most intense, hidden phases of their entire life cycle. While the top foliage sits still, the underground crown is actively developing the dormancy buds, often called hosta eyes, that will become next spring's leaves and stalks. The decisions you make right now determine how many eyes form, how large they grow, and how much energy the root system stores for winter. Treat them like they're sleeping in August, and you unintentionally sabotage the blueprint for next year's garden. In this video, we're breaking down the top late summer hosta mistakes that drain your plant's energy and compromise its root system, starting with the subtle errors and leading up to the absolute worst thing you can do to a hosta in August. Most importantly, I'll show you the exact practical steps you should take instead so your hostas return bigger, fuller, and more resilient than ever next year. If you want to protect your garden investments and get the absolute best performance out of your perennials, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We share simple, real-world gardening advice every single week to help you grow your best yard yet. Now, let's jump straight into the first critical mistake you need to avoid this month. The third major mistake gardeners make this month is reaching for high-nitrogen fertilizer to fix tired, yellowing August foliage. It makes sense on the surface. You see leaves losing their color or looking a bit battered, and you want to give the plant a boost of energy. However, applying a heavy dose of fertilizer in August forces the hosta to flush out tender new leaf growth late in the season. That new foliage requires a massive amount of energy the hosta should be redirecting down into its root system to build up energy reserves for winter. Even worse, those delicate new leaves don't have enough time to harden off before the first autumn frost hits. When that cold weather rolls in, those fresh shoots freeze, rot, and leave the crown vulnerable to fungal diseases right as the plant tries to enter dormancy. Instead of feeding high nitrogen now, hold off on chemical fertilizers completely until spring. If you want to support your hostas in August without disrupting their natural cycle, apply a thin, 1-inch layer of organic compost around the drip line, or simply stick to deep watering. This nourishes the soil naturally without pushing dangerous late-season growth. The second big error happens when gardeners decide to trim or clean up their hostas way too early. By late August, hosta leaves often show sunburn, hole-ridden edges from slugs, or general heat stress. The natural urge is to cut away all those ugly, yellowing leaves to make the garden bed look clean and tidy again. Resist that temptation, even if a hosta leaf looks damaged or discolored. As long as it still has green tissue, it's actively photosynthesizing. August is the exact time frame when the plant pumps solar energy down into the crown to build up root reserves. Every time you slice off a partially damaged leaf prematurely, you deprive the underground crown of the vital sugars it needs to stay strong through winter. You're essentially cutting off the plant's food supply right when it's trying to store meals for next spring. The rule for August hosta foliage is simple. Leave it alone unless a leaf is completely dead, dry, and crispy, or heavily infested with disease. If you must tidy up the plant, cut back only the spent flower stalks, the tall stems that have finished blooming, since seed pod production drains extra energy from the plant. Save your leaf pruning for late autumn, after a hard freeze has turned the leaves yellow, flat, and completely dead. Taking care of your soil and letting the leaves do their job lays a solid foundation for spring. If you're finding these seasonal hosta tips helpful, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more gardeners who are trying to protect their plants this late in the season. Now, avoiding late fertilization and leaving the leaves intact are both crucial steps, but neither of them compares to the single biggest August hosta mistake, the one error that actively destroys next year's growth eyes beneath the surface. Let's dive right into what it is and how to fix it today. The absolute #1 hosta mistake in August, and the mistake that ruins next year's growth faster than anything else, is crown dehydration. By late summer, a lot of gardeners naturally scale back their watering routine. The weather starts to shift slightly, the garden isn't blooming as intensely, and hostas look like they're done for the year. So, watering hostas becomes an afterthought. Here is why that is disastrous. Right now, during August, hosta crowns are forming the underground buds, or eyes, that dictate the size and density of next year's plant. If the soil around the root system dries out completely during this formation window, the crown panics. It enters a state of moisture stress, causing those newly developing eyes to shrivel, abort, or remain extremely small. You won't notice the damage in September. You won't notice it in winter. But come May, when your hosta emerges, it will have half the foliage, smaller leaves, and thin, weak stems. Hostas are big-leafed, moisture-loving perennials, and in the heat of August, their wide canopy evaporates water at a rapid rate. To protect next year's growth, you must ensure deep, consistent watering right up until the ground freezes in autumn. Instead of shallow daily sprinkles, give your hostas a deep, thorough soaking once or twice a week, aiming directly at the base of the plant. You want the moisture to penetrate 6 to 8 inches deep into the soil where the root system and crown reside. Adding a fresh 2-inch layer of organic mulch around the base, keeping it an inch away from the stems, will help lock in that late summer moisture, regulate soil temperature, and safeguard those developing eyes for a massive spring return. To give your hostas the absolute best chance at explosive growth next spring, let's do a quick recap of what to do right now in August. First, hold off on high nitrogen fertilizers so you don't force weak, late-season growth that freezes in the cold. Second, resist the urge to cut back ugly or damaged foliage early. Those leaves are still feeding the crown for next year. And most importantly, keep that soil consistently moist. Deep, weekly soakings and a fresh layer of mulch right now will protect those developing root eyes and guarantee a stunning, full display when spring rolls back around. Gardening is all about playing the long game, and the small steps you take this month will pay off in a big way next season. If you enjoyed these practical hosta tips, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below letting me know how your hostas are faring this summer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.